News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Matt Piper. At the close, a bit of a mix, but mostly lower. The Dow lost 280 points, or nearly 0.6%. The S&P down 3 points. The Nasdaq managed to gain 9 points, or 0.04%. Treasury 10-year yields rose to a one-month high, hitting 4.4%. The 2-year yield hit about 4%. Bitcoin down 1.3% at about 75,000. Oil, meantime, is hitting highs amid a back and forth between President Trump and Iran. NYMEX crude is at about $108 a barrel, while Brent is nearly $120. It is a huge day for earnings on some big tech companies, all just out after the close. Alphabet has reported quarterly revenue and profit that beat projections, fueled by strong growth in its cloud computing unit. It says its first quarter revenue was $94.7 billion compared with the $91.6 billion expected on average by analysts. Meta is raising its spending outlook for the year. The social media giant projected full-year capital expenditures between $125 billion and $145 billion, far exceeding analysts' estimates. Meta had previously forecast $10 billion less. Meta tumbled more than 5% in the post-market. Microsoft reporting strong growth in its cloud computing business, suggesting it's capitalizing on massive demand for AI services. The company says its cloud unit posted a 39% revenue gain. Total sales increased 18% to nearly $83 billion during the quarter. Federal Reserve officials have voted to leave interest rates unchanged, though 4 officials voted against that decision. It's the first time since 1992 that's happened. Chair Jerome Powell.
The 3 dissenters and others who could have supported that, and others who were voters and non-voters who preferred it, they all supported the right decision, right? So people are not saying we need to hike now. It's more a question of, don't we kind of feel that we should be neutral?
Powell says he intends to remain at the central bank as a member of its board of governors and will not leave until a controversial criminal investigation into the central bank is over.
I plan to keep a low profile as a governor. There's only ever one chair of the Federal Reserve Board. When Kevin Warsh is confirmed and sworn in, he will be that chair. Once sworn in as board chair, his new colleagues will elect him to chair the FOMC as well.
Bloomberg's Michael McKee.
No change in rates, but we have four dissents. Lori Logan, Beth Hammock, Neil Kashkari agreed rates should stay on hold, but they did not support including an easing bias in the statement at this time. Stephen Myron wanted a quarter-point cut. The last time there were 4 dissents, October 6th of 1992.
Bloomberg's Michael McKee on Bloomberg Surveillance. The Senate Banking Committee earlier approved Powell's successor as chair, Trump appointee Kevin Warsh, on a party-line vote. Warsh has promised regime change at the central bank and may make sweeping changes. He has argued in favor of rate cuts. President Trump tells Axios he's going to keep Iran under a naval blockade until the regime agrees to a deal that addresses U.S. concerns about its nuclear program. He's rejecting the Iranian proposal to first open the Strait of Hormuz and lift the blockade, while postponing nuclear talks to a later stage. Iran, meantime, renewed its threat to disrupt a second vital shipping lane if the U.S. keeps intercepting its ships. On the war, $25 billion is how much the U.S. has spent so far on the conflict. The revelation came as Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defended it and President Trump's $1.5 trillion budget request for the Pentagon before the House Armed Services Committee today.
The biggest challenge, the biggest adversary we face at this point are the reckless, feckless, and defeatist words of congressional Democrats and some Republicans 2 months in. I remind you, 2 months in to a conflict.
Hegseth says the U.S. will help allies that step up on defense and punish partners that fail to do so. The Supreme Court limited the use of the Voting Rights Act to create predominantly black or Hispanic election districts in a major ruling. In a 6-3 vote, the court rejected a Louisiana congressional map that was drawn with a second majority black district, with Justice Samuel Alito saying the current map was an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. Here's Bloomberg's June Grosso.
The Supreme Court has eliminated every other kind of challenge, basically. And what it did is, for example, you can't challenge gerrymandering for political reasons. So you could only at this point challenge it for racial reason. And now it appears that the court has curbed the use of race in drawing voting districts as well.
Bloomberg's June Grosso. You can hear more on the Bloomberg Intelligence podcast. Spirit Airlines says talks with creditors over a $500 million U.S. government rescue loan are continuing. They've postponed a court hearing related to the financing. Today's notice comes after Bloomberg reported that talks over the government financing had hit an impasse with a lender group that has supported Spirit through its restructuring. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Matt Piper, and this is Bloomberg.